We have dealt with one challenge that we anticipated being a potential problem, and it has turned out to be exactly that. On this cruise, I suspect it will be this way through all of this Holland America cruise. I doubt it will be as big a problem once we change ships, but then we'll probably run into it again when we board the Norwegian Star. And that problem is Trumpers. Trump's demographic in the U.S. is primarily older, white, affluent people. And that's who's on cruise ships. When we go to dinner at night, we don't have a fixed dining table with particular people or a particular table every night. We have something that Holland America calls anytime dining, I think they call it that. NCL pioneered this whole idea of go to dinner whenever you want. And in fact, on NCL, that's the only kind of dining there is in the main dining room. On Holland America, they give you an option of having fixed dining or having this anytime thing. And you can make reservations ahead of time, but goddamn, who's going to do that? I don't want to do that. So one of the things that they ask you when you go to the main, you come in and you check in at the desk at the main dining room, is if you're willing to share a table. Most of the tables in the main dining room seat more than 2 people. Most of them seat either 6 or 8. And if you ask for a table for 2, they are available. They're there. But you're handicapping yourself in 2 ways. One is that you're probably going to have to wait because there aren't that many of them. And if one is not available, you'll simply be asked to have a seat over to the side, just like you would in any other restaurant when there isn't a seat available. The other is that one of the really nice things about the main dining room on a cruise ship is sharing a table with other people and meeting people. It's nice. It's pleasant. You can have some great conversations. Cruise ship dining room meals tend to last a long time. It's not unusual at all for dinner to take 2 hours, maybe even longer. And if you don't share a table, you miss out on all that. The problem comes when you get a table with a bunch of Americans, and they're all from the Midwest or from the South, and I can almost tell by the accent if we're going to have a problem. And they tend to want to get political. And they ask us where we're from. We say Kentucky, and then they always assume that we're Trumpers because everybody in Kentucky's a Trumper from their viewpoint. And I don't do well in that environment, and that's putting it mildly. We've had a couple of meals where it got a little testy, and we've had one where it got outright, I got angry. And I got angry enough that we were eating dessert, and I took the last bite of my dessert, and I said, "It's been a nice evening," and we got and walked out because I couldn't take any more. What I am seeing is the meals we've enjoyed the most are those where we've shared a table with Canadians, Australians. When they put you at a shared table like this, they try to put you with people who speak English. They don't want to put a bunch of people together at a table where they don't share a common language. And the Canadians and the Australians, people from New Zealand, they don't get political. Or if they do, it's in very general terms, and there's no rancor, there's no problem. And mostly you just talk about the ports and other cruises you've done and where you live and all that kind of thing. But with Americans, it just tends to devolve. We almost gave up even bothering with going to the dining room because of this issue, and just having our meals in the buffet and forget it. But the last couple of nights have been pretty good. So we're kind of, you have to learn to avoid the subject, to cut them off before they can start, to refuse to answer political questions, to just evade. And what I find is that my guess would be, if I had to do percentages, my guess would be that well over 50%, probably well over 65, 70% of the Americans on board this ship are Trumpers, which is way in excess of the Trump supporters in the U.S., period. The overwhelming majority of foreigners think he's dangerous, ridiculous, a little hilarious, and kind of feel sorry for all of us. The American Trumpers get very offended by this, of course, and it's an interesting dynamic to watch, and I sort of knew it was coming. We did not run into this 2 years ago in our other cruise, which took place during the primary season before Trump was elected. So anyway, it's interesting.